We're rolling. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Safari Pedals Show. I'm your host, Abby. If this is your first time here, welcome to the Safari Podcast Zoo Crazy World Wild bandwagon. It's great to have you. Today is a very exciting day here in Abby's... I was so used to saying the Safari Pedal Studio, but now we're here in my room. So today is a very exciting day here in Abby's world/room because I am chatting with Esthy, who is a very multi-talented artist, engineer, videographer. She does content and lots of really cool stuff. We're going to be talking about her journey from the booth to the console, how she started off as just an artist and then ventured into music production. So I just can't wait to dive in and chat all about it. She has a really interesting and cool story. And I feel like there's not much more I can add. So, my God, this new angle is so exciting. Guys, we're testing out a new angle and it's like hella exciting for me. And I hope you're enjoying the change of scenery. So, everybody please give a very warm Safari welcome to Esthy. Woo! Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for hopping on the bandwagon. So I guess before we dive into the content and the story of this episode, let's start with who you are, what you do, and we'll take it from there.
So my name is Esthy. I am a producer, songwriter, artist, mix and mastering engineer, a filmmaker, and just a lot of things in general. Lady with many hats.
Okay, I'm very curious to hear what kind of came first in the chain for you. Which will tie
It was kind of all at once. And, you know, like when you're growing up, everyone's trying to tell you to like pick a lane, like, you know, just pick something and stick with it. And, you know, and I was like, nope, I want to do all of these things. You know, I think music came first because I started writing when I was 12. And then filming came not too long after that. I started photography when I was 15 and I started filming when I was 19. So it's kind of that's the timeline of things, but I think they all belong together.
I'll start by saying that today, as you can tell by the title, I've titled this episode From the Booth to the Console, because we're going to be diving into your story and your transition from the booth to the console. So
Heck yeah.
Let's dive into your story. I guess where you started and how the whole transition from, I guess you can say, maybe purely artist to engineer, producer.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds good. I moved to LA a good couple years ago. And, you know, I moved here because I was already writing songs and I wanted to be an artist. And I felt like that what better place to be an artist than in LA. And I wasn't really producing back then. I was producing a little bit. I can play the piano a little bit and the guitar, but it like, you know, I'm not a professional, so I can like do the four chords of like, kind of that's it. So I thought that, you know, I'm going to move here and my songs are so great and I'm going to get discovered and it's going to be like a rags to riches story and whatever. But obviously that's not how the industry works at all. So pretty soon I had to like figure out that, okay, so I don't have enough under my belt to like get discovered, and also like getting discovered is really not how the industry works anymore. So I figured the only way for me to get the music that I want to make is actually to start making it, because even when I had a little bit of money to like hire producers and mixing engineers, and they were like great people and they did really great work, but it's not exactly what I have in my mind. You know what I mean? Like, I think the only person who can make it sound exactly how it is in your head is you. So that was my first step of like, almost like kind of out of necessity, you know, that I started producing and then I kind of fell in love with it. I started out in Logic and then I moved to Ableton, and that was like okay, now I'm a producer. And I had a way harder time with mixing. Like, I feel like I've been producing for a good year and a half, 2 years before I like really started mixing, because I've been watching a lot of tutorials like online and I've been learning from a lot of people like secondhand and just like watching other people work, but it just never really like came together. as like one piece of knowledge in my mind to, to make a full-blown mixing engineer. And it's the weirdest thing ever, and I'm sure other people can relate to that. But one day I just woke up and I knew how to mix. So all that knowledge, it just took time for it to like set in. But literally, that's my experience, that I didn't know how to do shit regarding mixing. And one day I just, awakened and I was like, shit, I'm a mixing engineer.
You woke up and you're like, and then just the snare EQ'd itself.
Yeah, exactly. Like when in the Matrix, they upload what is it? To Neo, and he's like, I know how to drive a helicopter now. It's the same thing. And funny enough, that kind of goes away sometimes. So I still have days, or I have like a week and a half, where I just don't know how to mix. I don't know if you ever had similar experience. I never have this with production, but with mixing, there's like a whole week where it just feels like I forgot everything. And I really have no clue like how to do anything. And then I'm like, okay, I'm just going to step away for a couple of days and like come back, and hopefully I'm going to wake up and know how to mix again. And usually I do. So, I'm just praying that it doesn't go away fully
For
at
more
some point.
good mixing weeks, guys. Fingers crossed. Good mixing week. Good mixing week.
Yeah. And, I feel like that from that point, once you know how to mix, like mastering is like pretty straightforward to get into, because you're not that scared of like getting into mastering once you like really understand how to mix, I think. But absolutely, these are all like separate professions. So I'm not claiming to be the best at any or all of these things at all. But for me to do my stuff and my songs, it's really great enough. And it seems like that it's good enough for other people as well, because I'm getting a lot of inquiries on like making songs for other people and like mastering for other people. And it's just, I guess that's how it came to be.
It sounds like things just fell into place when they needed to. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like it set in at like a nice at a nice pace. Kind of on that thought, like, how long into transitioning into more of like a producer engineer phase, like how long did it take you to really feel confident in like, okay, I'm a producer now, I'm an engineer now, like this is what I do?
I think the first time when I felt that was actually when someone flew out to work with me. Like someone hit me up and they were in another city and they booked a plane ticket and a hotel room to come and work with me in my studio. And I was like, damn, really? Like me? Like you paid all this money to like work with me? And I was so happy about it. But obviously I still have like major imposter syndrome, because my goal was never to, be like a producer, mixing engineer. I was just trying to make my own music. But then I accidentally got into doing other people's music as well. But, anyone I work with is so, so grateful and nice. And they're always really happy with the outcome, because that's one of the things that I try to really clearly communicate and understand what the artist wants, and not like put pressure on them, and not, I'm not insistent of like putting my own mark on the song. Like, I don't care. My goal is to like do exactly what they want, because I know the experience from the other side. So I think that's also like gives me an interesting perspective as an artist, because I remember what it feels like being an artist who doesn't produce and mix and sitting there and trying to communicate what I want. But, I don't have the vocabulary, I don't have the knowledge, and just like, doing that in general. So I think I'm still, there are days when I wake up and like, yeah, I'm a professional. And there are other days, like I said, before I wake up, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing at all. So it's just, I think it's usually somewhere in between the middle. But even like very experienced engineers that I meet, the good ones always will tell you the same thing, that you never stop learning. This is kind of like a profession that's always evolving. How about you, by the way? I wanted to ask you about this.
Me? I didn't expect to be asked any questions on this podcast. What a surprise.
Woo.
Woo. I don't know. It's hard to say, because I am only starting out, I will say. And I do feel that I have started with my right foot forward, and I am working on tracks, and I am also, besides the work that I do with Safari, I am trying to further my own production career and getting on that. Working in the job field that you want is success. So that's what I'm defining it as.
Yeah.
So to feel like I've never felt successful in like this area of audio and music yet, and I'm just starting out, so it's like really weird because like it's happening pretty fast. I feel established, but then also I'm starting out.
I think that's something that doesn't go away for a while. Like I have the same moments that financially I'm so far from like being stable and like making it, and just the kind of like duality of even you, like, you know, being an important person and like basically a face of a plugin company, and like being out there and doing stuff and like coming across as like established and important and like such like a well-rounded person, but at the same time the duality of the reality itself, you know, not being there. But I really think that like it's kind of like exponential. So once you hit that kind of like first hit or first like big job or whatever, that it happens like this, and then you're pretty okay. But even when that happens, the royalties start rolling in like 3-6 months later. So I watched a lot of like interviews back then with like producers and artists and whatever. And I think it was Megan Trainor who said that when she had her first like big hit, what was it, All About the Bass? And that was like everywhere, like literally like coming from the tap. And she was so broke while that was going on TV, and she was on radio shows and stuff, and she was so broke at the same time that it was so surreal that her mind really couldn't like make it, you know, make it make sense. And she didn't even have a big team back then because that came after. So she was just traveling alone, doing all these things, like being broke and like lonely and like whatever. So it like takes a little bit of catching up. But I think like once you're there, like it's, you know, you're there. And if you're smart with your money after that and your moves, then you're pretty much done. But it takes a long time.
I kind of want to get your take on this and swerve into tips you have for people who who perhaps were in the same place as you, where they're kind of in artist mode and want to venture to the dark side of EQs and compressors. What would you say to them?
Just get started. Like, you know, don't be afraid to fuck up. That's something that no one really tells you in the beginning. There's no right way or wrong way to like produce and mix and master. You know, the main thing is that you should like what you're doing. At the end of the day, you should try to achieve that feeling that you're happy with what you're doing. But there's no wrong way of doing anything. Like, you know, go fuck up the EQ as much as you want, cut off all the high end you want. Like, if that's what's gonna make your track sound like how you want it to sound like, then, you know, you do you. Like, there's nothing wrong with, you know, doing your own thing. And also watch a lot of YouTube tutorials. Great place to start. There are a lot of really nice educational people, female creators, female producers as well, to watch. And also don't be afraid to use plugins that you're not meant to use on stuff. So like, for example, all of your guys' plugins, the Safari pedals, you guys have the most amazing reverb plugins that somehow always end up on my vocal return tracks. So, you know, go to town, do whatever you want, and there are no mistakes in making art. If anything that you do, you just, you know, learn from it or do it differently, or you like it and then you're gonna keep it. But mixing and mastering, I think, just as much as songwriting and producing, is an art form. Like, it is really an art form. It's not just you plastic packaging something that's like done and making it shiny and that's it. Because, you know, if that was it, then everyone would be doing it because there would be a recipe on how to do it. But it's not. It's truly an art form. So, you know, again, super subjective, and you just gotta start doing it and not put pressure on yourself on like, why doesn't my song sound like Demi Lovato's latest mix? It's because that song had 15 people working on it that's been, you know, they've been doing this for the past 20 years, and it took them a lot of work and time to get where they are. So, you know, if you can hit 50% of that sound when you're starting out in the first 5 years, you're already doing fucking great. Like, stop comparing yourself to other people and to other artists because, you know, everyone has their own journey that you have no clue about, I think. What would you say?
Oh, wow. Another question. Woo. I agree with what you said. Like, I really like what you said about everybody has their own journey. Like, I realized, especially, I guess towards maybe the end of audio school, I kind of did feel intimidated because it seemed like there were people that were doing more and putting out more tracks than I was putting out. And I was like, oh my God, falling behind. My career's over. That's it. It's done. It's going to go terrible. I realized the second that like I embraced my own lane, that's when shit started to move. Excuse my French. Once I was like, actually, everyone just like calm down. Stop the train. Like it's all good. Everyone just like stay in their lane. And I thought to myself also, I'm like, if I feel this way, then I'm sure most other people are feeling this way. So like, might as well just enjoy the moment. And my mom also, like, one of her things is like, you have to, like, now is the only thing that exists. Like, the future doesn't exist yet. So like, this is all you have. So that really helped. So that would be my take on the sitch.
Your mom sounds like a very wise person.
She is. She is a wise.
Tell her I said hi.
Hi, Mom. You're a wise person.
So cute. And also, you know, you're making so many friends with doing this podcast, and you know, you seem like such a great person, and I'm really looking forward to the next time you're here, because although we've both been at NAMM and I've actually been to your party, the Safari Pedals studio party, but we didn't actually get to meet. So I would love that if you would come over next time to my studio and we would, you know, cook some shit, because why not? Like,
hell yeah. And also, like, maybe we'll even treat ourselves and get a $12 latte. Who knows? Maybe we'll...
You just wait and see. By that time, we're both going to be so rich.
We're going to, like, afford two $12 lattes and get, like, a snack on the side.
Yeah.
And maybe leave a tip.
Get the expensive cheese at the store. Sheesh.
Yeah. Sheesh. Incredible. Wow. So much luxury happening.
Yeah.
That's great. So,
I know.
So to kind of sum up the topic from the booth to the console, I always like to ask our amazing guests to also drop, it can be either a piece of advice or something you want to say to the amazing Studio Animal viewers. So do you got anything else to say to the people?
Yes, I actually have a longer one. Sorry, I'm not rounding it out yet.
Yeah, go for it.
Because I just thought of the title that you said, that from booth to the console. Like I kind of like didn't move, and that's the thing that I touched base in the beginning. Like, do not pick a lane. Like, if you want to do multiple things, then fucking do multiple things, and don't let other people tell you that, oh, you got to pick a profession. No, you don't. Like, you know, you do you. You do whatever you want to do. Like, just because I'm a producer and a mixing engineer now, I so did not stop being an artist. And the two things, like, don't take away from each other. I'm not less of a producer because I'm an artist, and I'm not less of an artist because I'm a producer. So just because you know multiple things, you can still like jump around and like pick whatever suits you. So it's great to learn a lot of professions in the industry, because the more understanding you have, even if you're not going to end up doing something, that when you're going to be working with a lot of other people and maybe get that help, to have someone else like help you produce and help you mix when you don't have time because you're performing or whatever, or when you're getting in like bigger writing groups as a producer with like multiple producers and like other stuff. Like, it's really good to have that understanding from each aspect of the industry, like have that marketing understanding, have that like, you know, mixing experience, have this, just so you can like clearly communicate like what you want. And like, you know, you understand the people that you work with. And that's so, so important that you understand what they are going through and what it takes for them to like make your work shine, or the other way around. Like, just like me starting out as an artist, I think it's a huge thing for me as a producer that I understand what it feels like sitting in the other chair and like trying to like grasp on what they are trying to say, but they don't know how to say it yet. And I always encourage most of the artists that I work with to start picking up production, because even if you're not going to end up being a professional producer, like you'll understand way more and you're gonna have a way easier time of like getting your music done. It just, it really doesn't hurt to like peek into all the aspects of the industry. So yeah, don't pick a lane. Like do whatever makes you happy and just make art and, just keep doing it and don't look don't look anywhere else.
Don't look down or to the sides or up. Just like
just keep going, keep doing it.
That's a great. I'm gonna actually take your advice because I also needed to hear that. So it was great that you said that. So that really inspired me, and I think it's gonna inspire a lot of the amazing Studio Animal viewers as well. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh heck yeah! I'll definitely follow up on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be like, I wanna hear, what did you do?
Yeah. Well.
Also, I wanted to say thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun, and this feels like such a short time. I want to talk for like the next 3 hours and make this like a huge like podcast episode series, but I'm gonna let you get on with your day. And also I have a new song coming out, which is probably out by the time you're releasing this episode. It's called Nobody, and it's a really fun Ed Sheeran-ish, like kind of like acoustic pop danceable song. So it's a really fun one. Check it out. It's by Esthy and it's called Nobody, and it's probably out on Spotify. And if I'm doing fucking great, then you already have a music video to watch as well.
Woo, guys. So like it is probably out by the time everyone's seeing this. So like if it's out, I'll just link it below with all of your socials so everyone can find you. Thank you so much for joining the pod. This was honestly this is definitely the most philosophical pod I've done so far, and I'm so here for it. This was so fun.
Good. I love that, and I'm all about like empowering each other and like, we all have these like insecurities and thoughts, and just because no one's talking about it, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't talk about it.
Doing the audio thing, guys. And I'm definitely gonna be taking your advice. And yeah, this was epic.
And I can't wait to have you here in LA in my studio.
I can't wait to be in LA because if I'm in LA, that means a few things. One, I'm at Target. Amazing. Two, you guys can probably catch me at Trader Joe's every day of the week. Amazing. And I'm probably hitting up the drive-thru at Starbucks, which like don't come for me in the comments. Great cold brew. A little overpriced, but we're there for it.
Exactly. What's your Starbucks?
Just a cold brew. Nothing in it.
Nothing in it? Have you tried the nitro cold brew?
I don't know. I usually just order the whatever it is, and that's what they give me, I guess.
Okay, that's what we're doing when you're coming next. We're gonna do nitro cold brew, which is a cold brew, but they run it through like a tap kind of thing that makes it like aerated, but not fizzy. But it just hits you, like when you like drink champagne or anything fizzy and it just gets in your like head real quick. Like that's nitro cold brew. Like you have a sip and you're like.
Will it make me mix better?
It will make you have way more high end in your mixes because you're gonna be like.
That sounds like a plan. I can't wait.